Hey everyone, my name is Robin Solonenko and I'm your Access 365 database instructor. And this is a video from my Access Intermediate course. Although SQL is not required when using Access, you can still use it. In this video, I'll use some SQL code to generate a list of Access reports for me and put the results in a form so that the users can select and run that report. And since we're using SQL, it will automatically add to that report list if a new report is automatically created by the designer and therefore will always be current. So don't forget to check out my Access Intermediate course on my site, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to this topic where we're going to use SQL to pull or list our reports. And believe it or not, you guys have been doing SQL without actually knowing it. Microsoft automatically will translate all your queries into SQL. And just to take a look and see what it looks like, if you go into any query, go into its design view, and then up here you can right click right here and choose SQL view, and it will show you the SQL code for that query. Now you're not writing that, Microsoft does it for you. Okay, simply by being in design view and doing all the stuff that we've been doing in here, adding fields, putting criteria on, it translates it to SQL for you. So we're going to show you how to use SQL ourselves to our advantage, and we'll type some of it in. It won't be too long, and to actually pull a list of our reports that we can execute. Because as of right now, the way it's standing, you can see we're starting to get quite a bit of list here. So we have a lot of tables, forms, queries, and reports, and of course in real life you're going to have even more reports. So we maybe want to use this feature for this, what we're about to do. So the first thing I want you to do is build a new form. So go to your Create tab here, and this time go straight to Form Design. We're not going to do a form wizard, go straight to Form Design. And you can narrow this grid down to maybe about that big. Doesn't have to be very large. We're going to go ahead and put a label on it here, and we'll call it MPD reports. And again, I will make it bold, black, and maybe a 20-point size. Oops, and then I'll do a size to fit. Okay, now I'm actually going to change the background color of this report page, or the form page itself. I'm going to make it a shade of blue here, like that. That's a bit too dark. I'll go a little bit lighter. Okay, so just something different. And then the control that we want to add in here is one we haven't used yet. It should be the list control. And I believe it's, where is it here? My list. Right there it is, I believe. Yeah, the list box. So give me the list box and put it again underneath here. Now when this wizard pops up, just cancel that. We don't want to execute that. And I'm going to make the list box a little bit bigger here. I'm going to delete its label that comes with it. And I'm going to stretch this out like that. Just using my arrow keys maybe. Okay. Now, if you select that list box, go over to its properties sheet here. We've been having you always go to the control source to do, either link it directly to a field or to put in a calculation with an equal sign. In this example, we need to go to the row source because it's going to be listing rows of items here. So in the row source, you can click in there, and we do have we need to type it kind of vertically. So definitely we need the zoom in here. So do your function F2 to get into the zoom. And let's type in this code here. So this is going to be SQL code. So select distinct row, that is native to SQL. And we're going to use name in square brackets from my or M sys objects. Okay, these are case sensitive. It's SQL here. We don't worry about understanding every SQL function here. because a lot of these, again, you're going to copy and paste them going forward. But basically, msysObjects is a reserved word. It knows to look in itself, pull the name of its system objects, which is within this database, enter key, where, and square bracket, the type field equals, now this is not type as in our ticket types that we're used to, this is type as in the type that you see on the left side of your screen. And oddly enough, it's not equals where type equals reports. It's actually a negative number, 32,764. Don't ask me what Microsoft was thinking there, but that number equates to the Microsoft Access reports. Okay, so it's a negative 32,764. Enter key, order by, which is their version of sorting, and name in square brackets. Okay, so this SQL code will get us a list. It will populate a list of all those reports in this little window. Okay, so let's say okay to that. Let's save this form as view all reports. Okay it, and let's take a look and see if it does what it's supposed to do. Whoops. Form view, there it is. There's my list of reports. Okay. Now this is a prime example of one where we definitely don't need the record selectors because there's no records here, and we can get rid of the navigation as well. And we're going to clean this up, and we're going to make it modal and pop up. So let's go back to design view. I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit here. It's not as big as I thought I needed. Okay, go to activate the form itself. Let's come over to the format and let's get rid of the record selectors. So no on the record selectors, no on the navigation buttons, and we'll take this border style and make it dialog. Okay, and we need to, what else? Oh, we need to go to the other tab and pop up yes, modal, yes. Okay, so now when I view this form, it's a pop-up and it gets rid of all the lines, everything, all the objects. You notice we don't have a minimize, maximize here, we just have a close. So that is what the dialog box does. Okay, we're not quite finished yet. So back in design, and make sure you save this. We don't want to lose all this hard work. We have two more things to do. We need to create two more buttons down here. One to close this form, which you know how to do, and one to actually run whichever form gets selected within here. So let's start off with the close button. So hit your button here from the form design and click it down here. And again, this is going to be a form operations. We're going to close the form, hit next. This one, again, I'll switch it to the stop button there, next. I don't need to give it a name because I'm not going to reference it in my VBA. Finish it, and there's my little close button. So that was pretty easy. And again, I might as well go ahead and throw in my little border rectangle that I like to create and switch this to a border color black with a special effect of shadowed. Okay. Now we need to add in one more button here that actually will execute. So this one's a little bit different. But create another button, put it right beside the close button here. This one's going to be report operations, open reports. But at this point, we're not quite finished because it doesn't know which one to open. Because remember, there's going to be a list of them here. We don't know which one the person's going to be selecting. But we'll just start off this way anyways. Report operations, open report, click next. And now it says which report. It doesn't matter right now because we're going to delete it from the code in a second. So just hit next and let's choose that MS report icon is good enough for me. Hit next, and we don't need to change the name. Hit finish. Okay, So let me just line this up here. Okay, let's go view it, see what it looks like. Looking pretty good. Okay, let's save it. Now if I hit the stop or close button, it'll close that report, or that form, sorry. So that's good, that one's working. Go back into design view. We're not quite finished. We have to do one more thing yet. And that is, first let's make sure we know what the name of this control box is here. So if you select that unbound, did we give it a name? No, we didn't. Okay, so right now that box is called list 1. So you may want to change something to something more appropriate for us. So we're going to call it CPS reports. Okay, that's selecting that object, going to the All tab, giving it a proper name. Now I'm going to go back to that button down here, the one that's supposed to run the reports. Go to the event, and you can see there's an embedded macro here on click. Now, right now, it's going to run that report that we selected by default. So to change this, click on the ... right here. It takes you into this screen. This is a new looking screen for you. We're going to see more of this, especially in course 3. And we get a whole new macro design here. And this is kind of like, I guess, the new way of doing a VBA. It's converting into a VBA in the back end. But you're just doing point and click, and you can see here the report name is RPT All Tickets, or whichever one you selected. So I'm going to click in there and delete that, and I'm going to put equals, square brackets, CPS reports. That's what I called that one. So CPS reports in square brackets dot value. Okay. So look at that object and get the value. The value is what is active or selected by the user. And that's all we have to change. And you can see here, you can view is a report, and that's good. Okay, so let's close out here. Just use the red X up on top. This one's a little bit different. Don't use these X's here. You will actually delete it. So close, save this as well. And let's go view the form. So the objective now is I can select any one of these, hit this button, and it should run the report in the background. And voila, there it is. I can do another one, run it. Okay, this is kind of cool. Now, let's add to this. I'm going to close out this report window, this form. I'm going to close out these reports. Go back to the form called MPD main menu. So this one over here. And let's create in design view, let's add another grouping here. I'm going to first copy and paste this border of mine, this rectangle, put it over there. And I'm going to create a new button that form operations open form that opens up this view all reports. Next. That's fine. Next and finish. And I will give myself an AA button here, a label. I'll say view all reports. I'm going to select and just make some formatting changes here. Size to fit. I'll move this over a bit. And remember, when these are by themselves, they want to belong to somebody, so you click on that little arrow, associate. Okay, so off my main menu, I now can click this button. It will open up this little dialog box. I can select my report, hit the run button here, or this button. It will run the report and put it in the background. And I can do a whole bunch if I need to, and if I'm done, I just close it out with an X here, and there's my report ready to go. All right, so that's how you use SQL to pull your reports. That wraps up that topic. We'll see you in the next one where we look at adding some emphasis at runtime. See you on the other side.